Jay's team rejected completely. Do you know what I'm saying? Oh, let's come to your office, let's discuss. No. Hello. Welcome everyone. It's Think Talk, Ibra and Malik again. We're back again with the next episode, and it's episode 20, which is a milestone somehow when you think about it, right? Episode 20 of the Think Talk podcast. Super excited to be back again. We have a few interesting topics to discuss from the last 2 weeks because we took a break last week. Things were just everything was a bit tight on both ends. So we took a break and we're back again now to give you the juicy commentary on all the social topics that has happened in the last 2 weeks. So we went on the internet, scrubbed around and found the most interesting ones. Again, as I mentioned all this, if you have interesting topics that you think would be worthwhile to discuss, feel free to shoot us a message in our DMs and we'll do our research and bring it on the pod if we think it's interesting as well. So without further ado, I get to the topic for the day. The first one is a big one from 2 weeks ago. Ibra, did you hear about Hunter Biden's pardon by his father?
Yeah. I saw that on Instagram actually. Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, I feel like you already lost, right? So Biden is just saying fuck you to everyone. Since I didn't get re-elected, right? So I can do whatever and just use the office for my personal or public use or whatever. And because I still have the power to do that. So I'm just going to do that anyway, regardless of what anyone thinks. So that's what I think happened there.
I agree with you that they sort of just thought, okay, I have this one last chance. I cannot be seen as a father that did not protect his son somehow. I think what was interesting about it was because he mentioned earlier on that he wasn't going to use that pardon on his son. And he just backtracked when he lost the election. Like, I'm going to do it. Now, he made a very interesting comment. He said, I backtracked because injustice was done and the conviction of his son was politically charged. And in my head, I was thinking, what about the other people, the other Americans that the justice system has been used against them wrongly like that? And they don't have a father that's the president. To be fair, this presidential pardon and clemency thing that they use to either commute a sentence or pardon people, they use it a lot. All American presidents use it a lot. When I carried out a bit of research about it, I realized that Obama did like almost 2,000 acts of clemency in his 8 years. About over 200 pardons and 1,000 plus commuted sentence. So they use it a lot. It's just that, Obama did, for example, use it for criminals that were convicted for narcotics issue during the American crackdown on drugs. And Donald Trump used it as well. Donald Trump actually used it for, I think, his in-law. Yeah. And now Biden used it for his son. To be fair on Biden, he's the American president, is the one American president that has used it the least in his term. So maybe that says something, and maybe he was just keeping it. He was keeping it so that he can use this final bit for his son. And he made a comment when he became president, because Donald used most of his act of clemency in his last few days. And he made a comment that, we're not going to do it the way Donald did it when he became president. And somehow he has done the big one as well in his last days. Like, this level of hypocrisy, what do you think about that?
I mean, it's still what I said earlier, right? I feel like he's just at a point in time, or he's at a point in his life where he does feel like fuck everyone, right? Regardless of what I said earlier, I think he would have definitely acted differently if he was re-elected. I feel like right now it dawned on him that, whoa, I will be leaving the office for good. And that would be it, right? So I can definitely still do whatever I can right now. And I feel like to comment on your earlier statement about him using the list and all, what I notice also now is that I feel like the Republicans are quite louder when it comes to like their online presence. I mean, this last election, you can see like people are quite vocal on what they find important. I feel like before now, the Democrats absolutely have like the louder voice or the loudest voice. So now, yeah, I think the Republicans, also a lot of people shifted from like what's it called, like being liberal to like conservatives, right? So I think that also sort of helped them in terms of making this quite publicized. Because yeah, I would have never thought like Biden used the list, right? But you just said like he actually did in recent years. So more Republicans are now voicing online, and there are like a few big, powerful, I don't want to call them podcasters, but like, you know, like the Shapiros, the Ben Patrick Tay, and these guys are, I mean, I don't, even Joe Rogan, right? Like all these guys, they are quite vocal with their conservative, like, approach or like beliefs, right? So I think that sort of, yeah, gives like Republican this voice this time around to sort of make anything that that the Democrats do that they are not supporting, if you get what I mean. So it's like this just blows up like, yeah, it did this, it did that. Before it might have still done that and it wouldn't really be news, but like a lot of Republicans would just bring it up to like mainstream media and be like, oh, he just did this, right? So it's like everywhere.
I see what you're saying. However, I agree with you that the Republicans, the voice of the Republicans, a bit louder now with Twitter as well.
Elon Musk, yeah.
Of course, Elon is also a conservative. But I think the pardon of Hunter Biden would have been big news in any way. Yeah, for two reasons. One, because of what he said at the beginning, that he wasn't going to do it. And two, because this is also the first president that have used it for someone that has already been convicted. His son has already been convicted for the two criminal charges. One for tax, the second one for lying in his when he was filling the form to buy a gun. And this sentence, this criminal charges, he was convicted already. He was just waiting to be sentenced.
Yeah.
It was only waiting to be sentenced. One of the charges, I think, one of them would be 24 years, like maximum of 24 years, the other maximum of 17 years. Of course, there were predictions that it would get something at the lower end of the sentencing possibility, and that they will allow him to go through the prison time consecutively. So it wouldn't be 22 plus 17. It would be just the max of whatever it is. If they give him 5 years, it would cover both charges. But there were criminal charges. He has been convicted already. And then father comes in. I don't care whatever sentencing you want to do. He's pardoned for these federal criminal charges. However, Hunter Biden is a big ass criminal. Because, by the way, the pardon document actually mentioned that he has been pardoned for things that he did before, like I think from 2008 or 2010 or something like this, right? So even way back. So they basically went way back to when he also had some other issues, and they went way back enough so that he's pardoned. However, Hunter still has a state issue, a state legal case that this pardon won't work for. So it's not completely scot-free, but all his federal charges are all gone. He can now run for office again. He can do whatever. And this is the point of the pardon. And that's what Donald and Obama, and the point is some of the people that they pardoned had already been in prison, ran their term, but it was still on their record, which meant that they couldn't run for electoral position and other stuff. So the pardon that the Donald and Obama and the rest many of their pardons were to make the person food in society again.
Yeah, I feel like we could crucify Biden all we want, but I don't see any of these guys. Okay, let me throw it to you now. Like, give me one previous or ex-president that would be in Biden's situation that wouldn't do the same. It's just crazy that he has to be in this situation, but Obama would do the same. Trump definitely would do the same. And yeah, calling him out for this is just a political propaganda still, because all of them will have done the same.
I think maybe they called it out because, well, yeah, this is how opposition works, right? And then they will have the debate. However, when I looked at the pardon stuff and I looked at what Republicans do, what Democrats do, it dawned on me, like it just re-emphasized the point that there's a political class and then there's a working class. The idea that the political class is split is complete bullshit. The Democrats are the Republicans.
It's them versus us at the end of the day.
Exactly. The Democrats are the Republicans, and it's just what it is. However, I want to make a very strong statement, and it's leading to our next topic as well. Before I make this segment, let me ask you, did you hear that Donald Trump has been named Times Magazine Person of the Year for the second time?
Yeah, I just saw that like a few hours ago, actually.
So Trump has been named Person of the Year, and before I make my big statement, do you agree with that?
2024. Yeah, definitely. I think, who else? I mean, I try to think of any other person, but I think definitely he seems like the guy.
Yeah. I saw a funny Twitter comment that said he should be Cat Williams. That Cat Williams basically predicted the year before it happened. Fuck that. And I want to make a bigger statement. I'm not a Republican. I'm not conservative. I think I try to be more in the middle, if there's anything like that in the US now.
No.
Yeah, for me, Donald Trump is definitely, I think, deserving of Person of the Year for Times Magazine. But not only that, I want to make a bold statement. I was doing a little bit of research on American presidents, and I was trying to figure out how was the Democrat different from the Republican? How was Bush different from Obama? How was Clinton different from Bush? How was Father Bush different? And I realized somehow, and I'm very curious as to what our comment section would think. I realized that Donald Trump seems to be the most unique American president in like the last 40 years or so.
What do you mean unique?
The most impactful, the one with the most radical
100%,
ideology and follows through with it. Like the Democrats and the Republicans, they in the past they would say the same thing different ways and just a tiny bit of calibration to create differences. Trump, on the other hand, has strong beliefs in his positions, and he implements a lot of those things. And it sort of feels to me that he has been the most impactful American president in a long time. When it comes to a president marking their, like, you know, they put their feet on the ground and say, this is my tenure. I know that George Bush did big stuff. When you think about Obama, when you think about George Bush, they had certain things that also marked their regime, right? Obama being the first black president, there was the Medicaid stuff, there was the killing of Osama bin Laden. For George Bush, there was the Afghanistan stuff, the 9/11 attack. Yeah. But those things, when you look at Trump, those things, terrorism in Obama, terrorism in George Bush, it didn't seem like they were too different in their outcomes, in their ideology, in the delivery of many of those things. But Donald just feels very different from the rest. It's clearly showing that it's coming from a different class. It's coming from the wealth class. I mean, you can argue the Bush family is also the wealth class, but somehow the Bush family is the wealth class, but they're extremely politically exposed. But the Trump's name is just business. And the impact, it's, to me, I'll give him American president of the decade. No. The last two decades.
I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, I wouldn't be able to comment on that. But one thing is certain, he's an absolute radical. He came with a different ideology, and he came with a different playbook. That is one thing that I give him props for. Like, I think he's the one that actually reminisced, that looked back and realized, like, yo, US isn't that guy anymore. Like, America needs to be great again. It's not currently great, and it needs to be. And that is new. And that has been what I feel like a lot of Americans have been feeling for a while, that resonates deeply. And that's why I think he was able to also spend so little compared to like Democrats on his campaign, and he still won. That's like $400 million for like $1 billion. That's a massive gap, and he still won. So I feel like definitely he is different. President of the decade, I don't know.
I mean, the decade has been him and 2 years of Obama, him and Biden. So I think I said president of 2 decades.
I mean, I would have to do some research to give you an answer to that. Oops. But top of mind, if I have to give you something now, I think I'll go for Obama. I don't know why, but that's what I would say right now. But then if I would have to look into things, but like, I would just be like, yeah, okay.
I think there's a strong argument for Barack as well. I think my issue, maybe I'm being unfair to Barack, because when Barack Obama was president of the United States, it felt to me like, at that time, with what I knew then, it was absolutely the one. But after the fact, I'm sorry, I don't admire Barack as much anymore. I think Barack is a great politician, but that's what he is. He's a great politician. And maybe I pick Trump because it's not your usual politicians. The older I get, I do not appreciate the usual politicians, no matter how great they are. And I can appreciate their intelligence. I can appreciate their tenacity. I can appreciate how well they speak. And all these things Obama has. All intelligence and stuff, people like Olusegun Obasanjo in Nigeria and Bola Ahmed Tinubu, they have those things. But as people, admiration itself, there's respect for Obama from my side. Absolutely. There's respect to people like Tinubu from my side. But the admiration that I see in being different, in not being a politician, a leader that is not a politician just feels to me like a better leader.
And yeah, I also feel like that. I feel like it's also this underdog thing for sure. I feel like, yeah, because this guy came in not as a politician, as a businessman, and that's a huge difference, right? And also now you can see a lot of guys in his cabinet, or that will be in his tenure, right? They are also looking like a lot of business people. I'm not just so sure what that would mean. Maybe good for the economy, maybe not.
Yeah, for me, I'm not even thinking too much about the business stuff, to be honest. I feel like it's more, the older I get, I appreciate honesty more
than an average politician.
And Barack is in the last, since I can remember, the most well-spoken politician in the world when it comes to putting together how things needs to land. It's too good with it that it's so scary. And when you think about him as a politician, he's absolutely great. Like, his 2 terms, he had no strong challenge. That tells you something. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was just the guy that, even if you were a Republican then, you sort of have to, and he made his VP president as well. That's how strong a politician Barack is. Like, Barack Obama is a great politician. And if I'm judging by the metrics of politics, there's no way Trump even holds a poll to him. Because keep in mind, he made his VP president as well. When you look at Barack can pick a candidate in the next election and still beat whoever. Like, he has that. One thing that made me lose it with Barack a little bit, apart from the fact that it actually showed, for example, he deported more people, but he managed the media well. He still fought a few wars. He did nothing about bringing American troops back home. It was surgical, but he still promoted somehow in his own way, the military industrial complex, which I have a problem with. The one that gave me like a little bit of a headache is knowing how Kamala Harris came to become the Democratic presidential candidate. Yeah. It was solely, I mean, everyone that was doing any sort of analysis at that time could see that, well, when they found that Biden would not be able to continue, they did not have enough time to bring up another Democratic candidate that could potentially do better than Kamala. Not that Kamala was truly the presidential candidate and the presidential caliber that they wanted somehow. It felt to me like they made a backroom decision to say, Kamala, we put you there, we will do it together. And the stance that the Obamas, the expert, the stance that they took in supporting Kamala, it was so political that I felt like if it was Trump, I don't think Trump would just fall in line with the Republicans. I can see Trump smashing a candidate that he doesn't like, even though this candidate is Republican.
You think so?
Yes.
I'm not so sure, and that's one thing that I like about Donald also. It's like, it's unpredictable, right? You can't really tell what his next move is going to be. He says a lot of things, and now that I saw this other side of him, like him actually not being this goofball that he tries to be on social media, right? Then I know for sure this guy he moves strategically, right? I'm not so sure if he's going to go against Republicans when it comes down to it, right?
But he has done it. This is exactly why I'm saying this. When he's campaigning, he's not solely trying to say, let's show a united front as the Republican Party. When there's a Republican that it doesn't fuck with, he still bashes that Republican, even in his campaign.
But he's not trying to lose everyone in the Republicanism. Like, he wouldn't want to also.
Yeah, but this is not the point, right? Of course, he doesn't hate all the Republicans. Yeah. That's why he's a Republican. But the people that he does not believe in.
But this is a different one, right? Because this is like a front, what's it called now? Like a united front, whether you like it or not. As a Democrat, this is the best guy, and we are going to put her there, right?
He even had issues with the Bush family as well in the same Republican Party. There were so many Republicans that were powerful that didn't want Trump even in his first term. He's an outlier even in the Republican Party. This is the thing. His childlike honesty draws me. I'm not a fan. I won't even lie. Like, I admire Trump as, like, at the moment. I wasn't a fan in the past. But the more comparison that I make, the childlike honesty that he has in what he believes in. I'm not saying that he's always saying is always right. It's not about right. It's like whether he's right or wrong. The way he just says what he believes in or what he's thinking for me, it feels so unpolitical. It looks like someone that does not understand politics. And for me, that's just easier to trust.
To follow. 100%.
To follow.
I feel like
that. But anyways, in conclusion, Time Person of the Year, I think we're both on the same page.
Trump, definitely.
Now, we're going to another topic. This is definitely Case of the Year and something that is attached to that Case of the Year. The Legal Story of the Year. Legal Story of the Year, from my perspective, is the Diddy case. And recently, another strong man was included in this case in the name of Jay-Z. Did you hear about the Jay-Z's legal
I didn't follow
case?
But yeah, I saw a few back and forth online. Yeah, between Jay-Z and the lawyer of the...
Let me give you a small breakdown. An anonymous person, so we don't know who this woman is, reported through, at the case, as part of the Diddy case, that she was raped when she was 13 years old in year 2000. She was raped by Diddy, and recently they included Jay-Z as part of this case. The moment they did that, the lawyer, Buzbee, indicated that they reached out to Jay's team for a mediation internally. Yeah, but the Jay-Z's team, Jay reached out to his lawyer, and their strategy is basically to say, nope, we're not doing that. Anyways, it became public, but Jay immediately filed for the case to be dismissed because of some inconsistencies in the story, and also because this person that has brought the charge is anonymous. Right? So they're doing it through their lawyer. They don't know who this woman is. They don't know anything. It's anonymous. She is anonymous at the moment, and she said she was 13 years old in year 2000, blah blah blah, and there were some inconsistencies in the story. For example, that she met some people after, because it was maybe an MTV after party or something. But then she said she spoke to some group, some guys, the Jones or something, and those ones were not even at that party. They did not even attend the MTV. You know, there were already cases where they're like, and she said, "Oh, maybe I don't remember." She also mentioned that her dad picked her up. It was a 5 hours drive to pick her up, and her dad said that he doesn't remember.
That's interesting, man.
Yeah, exactly. And the Jays team did not only try to dismiss the case, they are now also going to sue that lawyer for extortion and all that stuff. But the lawyer has come back to say, well, it's not extortion, it's a normal thing. We would reach out for mediation first. But the Jays team are also saying, so Jay's lawyer is also saying they know this guy in the industry, like in the legal sector. He likes to do these public cases and try to get money rather than court trial.
I mean, his name can't be Buzbee, right? Because I feel like someone who already has that sort of name is sort of like an influential lawyer or something. Or what do you call it? Buzbee.
He has many cases like this, but yeah, they see it as a blackmail attempt. Yeah, I'm also reading a little bit about the case here, but it seems like the guy.
That's a real name. That can be a real name, no? That sounds like a nickname.
It seems like that's his real
Buzbee.
name, actually. And yep. It seems like that's his real name, actually. But yeah, this is how the case is going so far. All these inconsistencies, the history of this lawyer. I think there was also another case that came out. So the Jays team also found out that this lawyer has once been try to convince a client to lie about a case like this as well. So it doesn't look good. It doesn't look like it's going to work well. And their strategy is to say, first, who is this Jane Doe person? And two, all these inconsistencies, let's simply dismiss this case and then go after this lawyer for defamation and trying to destroy Jay's legacy. This lawyer is coming out to social media to say, yeah, I cannot be intimidated. This is intimidation tactics and threat. And I mean, you know, I watched the video of 50 Cent saying, yes, when you see some of those things, lawyers come out strong like that when they make those statements. They let you know that, you don't fuck with us, you don't. But I don't know. Like for me, I'm on the side of it's not adding up. 13-year-old girl going to the MTVs or got picked up in it. How did it happen that then she ended up with Jay and Diddy? And Jay and Diddy wanting to sleep with a 13-year-old girl. I'm not sure. In year 2000, if I recall, 13 years old people in year 2000 looked like 13-year-old. I don't know. It's not like in today's world where maybe they look different. So there can't be any confusion. It must be that and then they really brought this girl to the party where everyone could see them. And then she got raped. And her dad had to pick her up 5-hour drive, so 10 hours drive, and her dad did not remember any such thing happening.
I'm not necessarily even focusing on this particular incident, right? For me, it's now this every other week situation of a male celebrity or a male rich guy, public figure known by everyone, having this allegation and no one wanting to even wait till the end of the court case or to find him innocent or convicted for consequences to already be falling in. And I'm glad, I'm not sure what company is, but like one company that has like big affiliation with Jay, right? Like, and they're like, yeah, we are not reacting or whatever until this goes through. So I'm like, that's something I like to see, right?
What that shows you, I saw that Jay has not lost anything from these allegations yet, but it does not show you that the world is changing. It just shows you the power of Jay. Like Jay, and this is how Jay is also different from Diddy. They are both billionaires, but Jay is much more strategic in his positioning. Let me give a story. This was Jay's whole identity when he was coming up as a rapper as well. coming up as a rapper. He tried to get a deal. No deal came through. He instead went to do drugs, sell from his car. The first label that he was going to join, he joined as president.
But how has he been able to achieve this level of power with this untouchable beat of it? If you know what I mean.
It's a strategic move, right? So Jay, of course, he did the drug thing. But once he got into music money, he went in as an executive directly, even though he was dropping how many albums? All, platinum albums that he has dropped. So he has been very, very successful as an artist, performing and all that stuff. And every time he then moved into something, he did it directly. Like, for example, when he got into champagne, he bought out the whole Ace of Spades brand. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not even marketing. He bought Ace of Spades and he's not carrying it around. Maybe he shows it in one music video, but he's not running around doing, for example, what 50 Cent would do, meet and greet because I'm selling my Ace of Spades. He runs a different strategy. He runs the boss man strategy, not a hustler strategy, even though he calls himself a hustler.
So do you think he also has this ownership mindset rather than this other type of billionaires?
Absolutely. He has ownership mindset. Difference between him and Dame Dash, for example, they both have the ownership mindset, but Jay has the partnership mindset. You can't fire your partner. You can split the investment, but you can't fire your partner. So if he does a deal, it's straight up, look, we can break the partnership, but he's coming in with a lot of value. He's taking a lot of value. If you split the partnership, it's almost like you're splitting your business. So Dame, on the other hand, black owned, I own it 100%. Jay is not necessarily doing I own it 100%, but I want controlling shares. I want to be a partner. If it's not worthwhile for me to be that, I keep pushing. When I get enough, I buy it out completely. This is why Jay-Z has not lost anything.
So you can't really cancel him.
Jay cannot be cancelled. And I'm telling you outrightly, the moment the Diddy thing happened, considering how close they were, if it was cancelable, it would have lost some stuff.
Yeah, people were already coming for him, but nothing came up. It's like the whole social media was like, yo, when is Jay going to be arrested? When is his name going to come up? But for an ordinary guy, I was already expecting this like 2 months ago.
50 Cent was like, oh, Super Bowl won't like this, blah, blah. I'm not sure. Jay and the Super Bowl, they have this
boss-employee relationship, yeah.
With Jay, it's almost as if you can say, I don't want my outlet under his management anymore. I don't want the Super Bowl under his management anymore. That's okay. Super Bowl, you can go. But they are all under his outfit where he's the boss. Yeah. This is the worst case that they can do. The Super Bowl tells Jay, all right, the consulting deal or whatever deal you have with us, it's done. It's okay, cool. Without even relying on them too much. You know what I mean? And this is a difference between the level of billionaire, the structure that Jay had set up.
Do you think he's the only one who has this kind of, because now you can see Kanye, it affected him, right? So yeah, like with Diddy,
Kanye did not have this setup. Right? Did he? Like if you think about Kanye's setup, Kanye was actually under their
Though it was sort of like a partnership, but it didn't own, so the distribution was the main part of the partnership, right? So you don't own the distribution. Yeah,
exactly. When Jay partners, it will probably go on the distribution. This is what Jay is doing now. That's why he has this management organization that instead manages athletes and stuff. They manage you. They help you get out there. It feels like that's where the fulcrum is. This is where the power is. This is also why, for example, Don Jazzy in Nigeria, when you look at Don Jazzy in Nigeria, all the guys that are under Johnson stuff, they sort of still need it. Like when you leave Don J, you can leave, but if you don't have this distribution network, you have lost the strongest part of the whole being under a label thing.
Going back to the topic, right? Now, talking about Jay being this guy, and I've always thought of him to be this kind of guy, right? Like he's powerful and different for some reason. I mean, you can also already see how other celebrities who have had one or two affiliations with him, both currently and in the past, right? They talk about him like in a different way that, this is someone people respect and fear simultaneously, right? So thinking of him as this guy, now thinking, okay, what if he actually did this stuff? Is he then still the guy that would then still get away with such stuff, right? Because I'm thinking, is it threatening? Because now all of a sudden, people are like sort of backing out. Like the girl's dad, for example, I'm like, it might also be another set of reason that is like, no, I don't know nothing. Like,
But Jay's claim at the moment, yeah, keep in mind, this is why I kept on emphasizing the legal. It could be, let's say he did it. I'm not saying Jay didn't do it. I'm actually not saying he didn't do it.
yeah,
And I'm not saying he did it.
yeah,
I'm saying we don't know. And as long as we don't know, whoever is making the
Yeah.
accusation needs to prove it. Right? The thing is that at the moment, we don't know who is making the accusation. So basically, Jay's legal team is demanding the court to unveil the name of the accuser. So if they don't know, and it could just be a strategy that they already know who it could be, they have done their damage control. But if they don't know, and the strategy that they are demanding the court to do so, how would they know who?
Yeah, that's true. So that's still anonymous right now, actually. Yeah, so true. So yeah.
But it could be a strategy. It could be a strategy. Okay, I know who the person is. I already sorted it out. But keep in mind, the lawyer asked for internal mediation. Let's not make it a media thing. Jay's team rejected completely. Do you know what I'm saying? Oh, let's come to your office, let's discuss. No, don't come. We don't want to see you. I don't want to discuss this. There's no point for internal mediation. It didn't happen. Full stop. From that perspective, I can understand that if it thinks through and like, there's no way they have proof. That's also the strategic move to make if he wants to go scot-free. Because if they don't have proof, there's no need to entertain them. This thing happened in year 2000, over 20 years ago. Allegedly, exactly. Allegedly happened over 20 years ago. And this person is just coming now. How are they going to be able to find proof? The funny thing is that there are the inconsistencies in the story. Some people are saying, well, maybe she forgot. Maybe. All right. If you say she forgot some fact, then we have the right to then question as well that maybe she forgot what truly happened.
Because that was a long time ago.
Exactly. If you forgot where it was, if you forgot when it was, because she said, yeah, okay, maybe it wasn't the MTV. How many times did this happen to you with celebrities at 13 years old?
And why did they file without Jay's name previously? Why are they now changing it now?
That's a big question. Why did you forget that Jay was there before? I guess now Diddy is fighting. Diddy is saying, I'm not guilty. Maybe it seems like Diddy's like, okay, I've whoever can pay. So basically, they're like, let's include Jay. We'll call Jay to see if he pays us the money. If he doesn't, we just make it blow up as well. So I feel like there's something crazy happening here.
Like, it doesn't know. It's different, to be honest. This is different from even the this British guy's one. Like, this just feels like off. It's like, why did you file the claim without Jay? Why all of a sudden now Jay? Did you forget? Did you intentionally leave that out? Do you now feel like, okay, now Jay is like, it's quite believable because he's best friends with Diddy and people will just add 1 and 2 and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I feel like this is just BS, man. Like a lot of celebrities that are having this, it's already a lot. And for me, I feel like this is just a war of poor people versus rich people. It's like everyone sort of have this belief that to actually be that successful, you must have crazy sexual fetish. That's like the thing now. It's like you must be having sex with kids. You must be doing all sort of orgy and all these things.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make sense to me. They might like to have sex, but they have too many options, honestly. They have too many options. Yeah, and now I'm starting to think that what might have influenced Buzbee to now add Jay to the case could be that internally they're starting to see that money might not drop from Diddy. And this could be a sign that even Diddy's case is about to
go down. They removed the bail appeal. They said his lawyer now is saying like, let's leave him there. We don't want him out in bail anymore. For me, I'm like, this is going unexpectedly different. Why would he want to be there? It's like,
it's difficult to prove many of these things. And if you take it to court, you still have to prove beyond reasonable doubt. the big one at the end, the big one. This is big, and I think we have to be careful the way we talk about it. I don't want to go
Yeah.
into the detail too
No,
much because I
already.
think a
Yeah.
lot of people know about it already. It was the case where allegedly this Ivy League graduate from a wealthy family allegedly took out, I don't even know if that's still safe for social media, allegedly took out the CEO of United Health, and he was arrested because a whistleblower from McDonald's called the cops. He was arrested. They found some stuff in his bag. They also found well, I call it pseudo gun, but like a gun that's not registered in a serial with a serial number. I think a gun that was probably 3D printed and all that stuff. And they said they also found DNA on. So the camera picked him drinking Starbucks or whatever, and then he threw it on the ground, and then they said there was DNA result proving that he was the perpetrator. That's not the biggest news of it. And for me, I would say when someone loses their life, it's big news. In that way as well, it's big news. I'm not in support of that. I have to say, like, we can't just go out and, to take out whatever we want to take out. I mean, I'm not saying the world is fair. I'm not saying some people don't have that power or opportunity in an unfair way. But I'm just saying, if that's how we all then behave, the risk is too much. So, people might misunderstand who has power over what. Right? It's a bit sad, but he's in court now and he has somewhat become an American hero to some people. Why do you think this is the case? I know why, but I know that you also have a very strong opinion about it, Ibra.
I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of the things that I predicted is already happening. I mean, we had this discussion over the phone, like when it happened, right? And I'm already seeing that unfold. The being the hero part, I think when it happened, I already saw like, this is going to be a tricky one. And I think that's why not just the health sector right now, that's why they are really taking it seriously. Not just because a powerful person lost his life, right? Because they know what the public opinion is when it comes to American health, right? Or at least health sector, the insurance sector specifically. People are not really pleased. A lot of people are not pleased. And that has led to this sort of situation where this guy is being called a hero or like became a hero. I'm not sure if you saw also this clip of a concert. Was it even a concert or a rave? But it was huge. It just happened yesterday, I believe, somewhere in the US. And the DJ was, they put like this dude's like slideshow of different of the social media picture, like at the back screen. You know all these techno events, right?
Wow.
Like you have this massive screen at the back, and they had like all sort of his pictures just sliding, and people were screaming in support, like, yo, like he's the. I just saw that recently, like a few hours ago today. I'm like, yeah, this might lead to something worse. And I think, like, for example, this lady that called or that was using the exact phrase that this guy used, that's why they had to really clamp down such statements.
I have a problem with that one, right? So much for freedom of speech. I think this is what you said as well. The woman that called her insurance and she was denied, and then she made that statement and said, "You are next." She doesn't even own a gun and all that stuff, and she was denied. She was arraigned in court very quickly. Yeah, the FBI saw it and then referred to local police. She was immediately then arrested, and then $100,000 bail bond. And, they're basically saying, we'll take this seriously. We'll charge you. You should get a lawyer and all that stuff because of a statement that she made on the phone. It's a threat, but it's not a threat that anything has been done about. It's also clear that there's a social media trending topic about it. And it's also clear that she might be emotional and say stuff like that.
That's what the governments, that's what they do, right? Yeah, they are wrong to do that. And that's also, we talked about this, like the freedom. When you say things that are not relevant, nobody cares. But when you actually stand on some ground on things that are quite important and you are yeah, you can become the problem, right? Or you can be seen as a problem because you're not actually a problem. It's freedom of speech, right? But why they have to do this is I feel like they have to sort of still control the masses at the end of the day. And events like this can really turn, this would be similar to the NSAS protest that happened in, I think since then, I can really see, I mean, we can always look and see what events can be, but since then, I look out for such things, right? Like you can tell when the government is panicking. And this is one of those moments. It's like for them to already be able to control all of us, like the vast majority, they are like 0.0% controlling billions of people globally, all the governments all over the world, I'm saying now. It's already a very excellent work. So, but there will be events that will sort of awaken a lot of people. And this is one of those, right? It's like, why are we paying and we are not getting the worth of what we are? So, and when they start praising this guy's name, trust me, a lot of other people are already starting to think, oh, maybe if I wouldn't get my whatever approved or my health insurance for this, whatever, I might go the same route. So they have to sort of act drastically to shut everyone who might be thinking the same. So it's sort of like a scapegoat situation.
And it's very interesting how, when you think about the method of control that the government uses, it's crazy, right? Because it's actually fair. The way they control
Yeah.
us is fair. I do not break the law. Even the ones that I don't agree on a moral standpoint with, I still won't break those laws simply because of the fear that I get thrown in prison, or the fear that I get shot by a police
Yeah.
officer or something. Like they are controlled by guns and prison. And in prison, they keep you in there
Yeah.
with guns.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to think about that, because now they're threatening this woman with prison. And they're basically telling anyone else that if you follow a route, this is your end. You will go to prison. By the way, Luigi Mangione pled not guilty. The evidence that they found around him seemed damning, but it's not necessarily clear yet. Simply because at the moment, the case that he is actually in court for is not even any of the degree murder, whether second degree or first degree murder. It's a possession of the things that they found on him when he was arrested. So he was found in possession of an unlicensed firearm. They called it a ghost gun. So it's untraceable, it's unlicensed, no serial number, probably 3D printed. And they also found some of his memo or manifesto that he wrote about the insurance sector, because he has maybe severe back pain and maybe something is wrong with his treatment or whatever. And this is what is currently being charged for in court. And so he's pleading not guilty. And is also fighting against being extradited to New York, because that's where he would then be able to face the murder charges. Yeah. And then he's also there in New York's DA. They are also then working towards moving the murder charge from second degree to first degree. So it's still much more complicated. We don't know exactly what kind of twists and turns we will get, because it's still not sure if the person that was arrested was the person that carried it out. There are damning evidence, but it's not clear. So there are many things still that would unravel on this case, and he has a very good lawyer. He has hired an ex-DA, very powerful ex-DA.
I mean, he's a privileged boy. Yeah. It's not a broke boy.
Yeah. So let's see what happens. I'm a little bit worried about making him a hero. You can't just go around taking out whoever you don't agree with or whoever you think is treating you unfairly. I think you will have to go through the strenuous legal process, which, yeah, of course, it probably doesn't work against very powerful people, because the burden of proof will be on you if you're accusing someone. But still, we need some decorum. But on the other hand as well, I do not like the way the government is treating this woman.
Yeah, I mean, I also wanted to add to that, like, also the health insurance sector, like, has proven to be quite shady and untrustworthy. So I feel like that's why this is happening, and definitely the government has to do something about that because, or yeah, they do have to do something about that because this wouldn't be happening if everyone feels like, okay, there is nothing wrong going on.
It wouldn't happen in Germany, for example. Because there's a better blueprint. You wonder why the US stick to what they do at the moment.
They don't care about their people. That's what I feel like. Everyone is a product. As long as you accept that, you'll be fine. You are not a person. The people are not people. They just see their people as consumers, actually.
That sucks.
Even Trump was making this statement about someone like people who don't align with like him in his government, or I think it's some tariff situation that I was talking about, that he's already warning them that like the American money, the American people money, it's the same thing he was talking about. It's like our people consume a lot. That's why you all want to be our friend, right? So even TikTok is an example of that. Like the amount of Americans that are on TikTok, I think that's like their most valuable asset when it comes to profit or loss that they are going to make globally on TikTok also. So
yeah, I agree that that's a big driver, but I think you can do that while still you can be relevant internationally while still taking care of your people. And I say this solely because of how much money the Biden regime sent to Ukraine. But again, we know that could potentially be.
yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. I think this will be interesting. I'm pretty sure we'll still talk about it in another episode. We'll update people. Yeah, so the Jay's case, the Luigi's case, we'll see how those ones turn out. And I'm very excited. I'm also looking forward to how the Diddy case turn out. And also our young Philly's case turn out. That's it. From my side for this episode. Ibra, do you want to add anything, or you're also good?
Yeah, I think that's it from my side for the week also.
Wonderful. So that's it. Do not forget to like, subscribe, share, save, comment on this. Again, it's the world of nuance. Sometimes we throw out our ideas. Even myself and Ibra might have different ideas. We put it out there. We want to see how you guys think about it. Please, if our line of thought is not what you think, or if you think there's a loophole somewhere there, put it in the comment section. We want to learn as much as possible, and would like to hear your opinions as well. We are on every platform: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. So follow us on our channels, and see you next time. Bye bye.